Mom, look. I got first place in the science fair. I ran into the living room, holding my project like it was a treasure. She didn't even look up from her phone. She murmured. I blinked. Didn't you hear me? Dad glanced over his glasses briefly. That's nice, dear. But James got the school award for best athlete today. Isn't that amazing? My chest tightened. Amazing. James. Always James. I forced a smile, even though it felt like my lungs were being squeezed. I mumbled, "Oh, that's great for him." James swaggered into the room, grinning. "Mom. Dad. Did you see my trophy?" He held it up dramatically, soaking in their praise. "Wonderful, James." Mom cooed. "You're such a star. You've worked so hard." "Yeah, James," Dad added. "You make us proud every day." I looked down at my project. My own hands, trembling. No one had said a word about me. Lily had been the only one to notice. "You okay?" she whispered from the doorway. Her brown eyes were worried. I nodded quickly. "Yeah, just tired, I guess." She came closer. "I hate how they never see you. You're amazing, you know that." I smiled weakly. "Thanks, Lily. You always get it." James flopped onto the couch, still grinning. "I told you guys I'd win. You should have seen the look on the coach's face when I scored the winning goal." Dad laughed. "We saw, son. You were incredible." I forced myself to cheer. "Yeah, great job, James." Mom barely looked at me. "Sweetie, you'll have plenty of chances. James he's special, that's all." I felt my hands clench into fists. "Special," she said like it was some kind of magic word. My achievements? Invisible. My feelings? Irrelevant. Later, in my room, I slammed the door. Lily sat cross-legged on my bed. "Why do they do this to you?" she asked quietly. "They love him more," I said bitterly. "Always have, always will." "That's not fair. You're just as talented, just as smart." I laughed without humor. "They don't see it. They never will. I'm invisible." Lily shook her head. "Not to me. And you can't let them make you feel worthless. One day, they'll regret it." I buried my face in my pillow. "Do you really think so? After all these years?" "Yeah," she said firmly. "You're stronger than they'll ever know. And you'll show them." I wiped my eyes. "I hope, someday." Dinner was the same. James talked endlessly about his day, while my parents nodded and laughed at every word. I tried to mention my science fair win. "James, remember what I told you about humility?" Dad said mid-laugh. I froze. I won first place in the science fair today," I blurted. Mom glanced up, disinterested. "That's nice, dear. Did James help you with it?" "No." I shouted before I could stop myself. "I did it myself." James smirked. "See, Mom. I didn't even need to do it. Still, you're proud of me, right?" They nodded, smiling at him. At him. My throat burned. After dinner, Lily and I walk home from school together. "You can't let them see you break," she said. "I know," I muttered. "But it hurts so much. Every single day." Lily squeezed my hand. "Then let it hurt. And then, when the time is right, you'll make them notice. Not just notice, respect you." I looked at her and felt a spark of something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. And maybe, just maybe, revenge. "Congratulations, James." Mom's voice rang through the auditorium like a spotlight. I froze in my seat, clutching my diploma. My hands felt too heavy to hold it properly. James strutted to the stage, grinning like he owned the world. Thank you. This means so much." Dad beamed from the front row. "That's our boy. Incredible job." I blinked at the principal. Isn't there an award for academics too?" He glanced at me awkwardly, then at my parents. "Yes, the top academic award goes to." Mom waved him off before he could finish. "That's fine. We just want to celebrate James today. He's our pride." Heat rose to my face. Pride. Their pride, never mine. I sank into my chair, wishing the floor would swallow me. Hey, a voice whispered in my ear. Lily, sitting beside me. I saw your scores. You crushed it. You were amazing. Thanks, I muttered, forcing a smile. My voice sounded weak even to me. James returned to our seats, still grinning. Did you see me up there? I think I nailed it. You did, Dad said, clapping loudly. You're unbelievable, I muttered under my breath. Mom glanced at me, frowning. Is something wrong? I shook my head, trying not to cry. Nothing. I'm fine. After the ceremony, the cafeteria was packed with students and parents. James held court at the center, boasting about his award. Did you see my speech? He asked Emily, leaning close. I totally nailed it. You were amazing, James. Emily gushed. I hugged my books to my chest and turned away. The whispers from other students stung. Did you really think they'd care about you? One boy sneered. I swallowed hard. No. I guess not, I muttered. Then Mr. Collins, my English teacher, approached me quietly. You were outstanding today, he said, lowering his voice. Your essay, your presentation, brilliant. Don't let anyone make you feel invisible. Thanks, I whispered. It doesn't feel like it matters though. They only ever notice James. I know, he said, sighing. I've tried talking to your parents before. They just can't see it. But you have something more important, your talent. Don't waste it wishing for their approval. I nodded, swallowing back tears. I want them to see me for once. He patted my shoulder. One day, they will. Or maybe you won't need them to. Lily caught my arm. Come on, let's get out of here. You need some air. Outside, I exhaled sharply, letting the breeze hit my flushed face. Why does it always feel like I'm invisible? Every achievement, every effort, gone. They're blind to you, Lily said firmly. But that doesn't mean you're not amazing. You're stronger than them. Don't forget that. I hate them, I admitted, my voice trembling. It's not fair. Why is James always the golden child? I get it, she said softly. But hate, it can consume you if you're not careful. Channel it. Be better than they expect. Not for them, for you. I stared at the school parking lot, picturing my life differently. No more being ignored. No more humiliation. My heart pounded. What if I could turn everything around? Make them see me? Make them regret ignoring me? I whispered, almost to myself. Lily frowned. Careful. Don't let revenge guide your choices. You have to stay smart, not reckless. I know, I said, my hands clenching into fists. But inside, a spark had ignited. I imagined leaving this small town behind, proving myself, building a life where no one could dismiss me. A life where I controlled my own story. James' laughter echoed in my mind, that smug, self-satisfied laugh. One day, I murmured, I'll show him, all of them. They'll wish they'd paid attention when they had the chance. Lily squeezed my hand. Just promise me one thing, stay you. Don't lose yourself chasing them. I won't, I said, though a quiet part of me smiled at the thought of my eventual comeback. Revenge was a dangerous road, but maybe, just maybe, it was a road I was ready to walk. We walked home in silence, but I felt a strange mix of pain and purpose. The humiliation had cut deep, but it had also given me something I never had before, a reason. A reason to rise. A reason to plan. A reason to take everything back. And this time, I wouldn't be invisible. I was in the kitchen when Mom's phone rang. She answered with that sharp, practiced tone. What? He's okay. My stomach dropped. James. Car accident. Dad rushed in, pale. It's not serious. Just a scratch, nothing more. The doctors said he'll be fine. I stared at them, trying to process. A scratch. I whispered. Are you sure? Mom snapped. Yes. We know what we are doing. Stop overreacting. I wanted to scream, to shake them. But I nodded, pretending to believe them. Later, I found Emily pacing outside the house, He's fine, right? She asked, biting her lip. I guess, I muttered. That's what they're saying. Emily looked at me oddly. You don't look worried. Are you? My throat tightened. Of course I am. I just can't help thinking how lucky he is, I guess. Her eyes narrowed. Lucky. I clenched my fists under the table. Yes. Lucky. He's alive, that's all. She didn't press further. We drove to the hospital. James was in a room, hooked to machines, his leg in a cast. He looked small, vulnerable, and yet still arrogant. See? It's nothing, Mom said, smoothing his hair. You scared everyone. I'm okay, James mumbled weakly. Really, it's just a scratch. I watched him struggle to sit up, Emily fussing over him. You shouldn't push yourself, she scolded, adjusting his pillow. I swallowed a mix of relief and frustration. Relief that he wasn't dead. Frustration that this would somehow become another story of his heroism, of people feeling sorry for him. Helen, the nurse, noticed my tense posture. Are you all right? She asked softly. I shook my head. I don't know. I should feel something. Guilty, maybe. But I don't. Her kind eyes met mine. It's normal to have mixed feelings. You can care without being consumed by guilt. I stared at her, surprised. You really think so? I do, she said. And maybe this is a chance for you to see where your feelings truly lie. I nodded slowly, pretending to understand, but inside my mind was racing. Years of neglect, humiliation, and favoritism flashed before me. The anger I had buried deep rose, tangled with an unexpected sense of relief. Emily leaned closer to James. You scared me, you know. I thought I'd lose you. James gave a weak smile. You'll never lose me. I clenched my jaw. Their concern felt shallow, performative. It wasn't about me. Never me. Later, Helen guided me to a quiet corner. It's okay to feel conflicted, she said. It doesn't make you cruel. It makes you human. I guess, I admitted. I hate feeling invisible, even now. She smiled gently. Then don't be. Life gives us chances. Sometimes, the right moment comes after the worst ones. I nodded again, hiding the flicker of an idea forming in my mind. Maybe this accident. Maybe this was the first spark of my chance. My chance to change everything. To make them notice me. To make them regret underestimating me. James groaned from the bed. Emily rushed back. He's awake. Don't just stand there. I swallowed my thoughts and approached him. Hey, how's the leg? I asked, keeping my voice calm. It hurts, he said. But I'll survive. Thanks for checking, I guess. I nodded, forcing a sympathetic smile. Inside, I felt a strange, complicated mix. Relief he was alive, anger at his arrogance, and the faintest glimmer of possibility. As we left the hospital, I glanced at James and Emily. Everyone thought I was guilt-stricken, broken by what had happened. But the truth was different. I was calculating, thinking, planning. I had survived my emotions, and now, I would survive this family too. And maybe, just maybe, I would finally have my moment. I sat on the bus, watching my hometown disappear in the rearview mirror. The streets I had known all my life, the faces that had ignored me, the echo of James' laughter, everything was fading. I exhaled slowly. This is it, I whispered to myself. No turning back. Lily had hugged me tight before I left. Promise me you'll stay true to yourself, she said. Don't let them change you. I won't, I promised, though a fire burned in me. I wasn't just leaving, I was plotting my comeback. The college campus was enormous, buzzing with energy. Students rushed past, laughing, talking, living. I felt small for a moment, then a strange thrill surged through me. New city, new identity, new chance to be noticed for who I really was. On the first day, I met Ethan in the library. He was older, sharp-eyed, and kind. You're new here, he said, scanning my face. I'm Ethan. You seem focused. That's good. Focused? I asked, raising an eyebrow. He smiled. You have that look. Like someone who's determined to make every moment count. Most people waste their first semester, but not you. I felt a jolt of surprise. Thanks. I guess. Call me if you need advice. Classes, networking, life in general, he said. I've been around, seen students waste talent. Don't be one of them. I won't, I said, more to myself than to him. As days passed, I learned to navigate this new world. I smiled more, spoke confidently, and let my intelligence show without arrogance. I started small, helping classmates with projects, joining study groups, offering insights in debates. Slowly, people began to notice me, and it felt intoxicating. Then came Sophia. She was sharp, competitive, and impossibly confident. During a group project, she challenged me openly. You can't rely on charm alone, she said, fixing me with a cool stare. You need strategy, or you'll fall behind. I'm not relying on charm, I replied, meeting her gaze. But maybe I just like winning. She smirked. We'll see who wins this one. Her competitiveness pushed me harder than anyone ever had. I found myself thinking, I can beat her. I will beat her. And not just for grades, this was practice. Practice for life, for my eventual return. One evening, Ethan invited me for coffee at a quiet cafe near campus. You've adapted quickly, he said, stirring his drink. But remember, intelligence alone isn't enough. Influence matters. People notice power, not just grades. I understand, I said, listening intently. I want to learn how to make people see me. How to make them respect me. Ethan smiled knowingly. Good. Respect is earned through consistency, patience, and subtlety. You have potential, but don't let anger guide you. Let it fuel your focus, not your decisions. I nodded. Inside, the anger I had buried for years burned quietly. But now, I could channel it. Not recklessly, but with precision. Every conversation, every class, every connection. I was building my empire quietly, without anyone noticing. Sophia challenged me again during a debate. You think you're clever, she said, pointing at me. But strategy beats cleverness every time. Then let's see, I replied calmly. May the best one win. Her competitive glare energized me. I realized something important. Rivals weren't enemies, they were mirrors. Sophia forced me to push harder, sharpen my mind, and refine my social instincts. She didn't know my past, and I didn't need her to. Every small victory here was a step toward the person I was becoming. Confident, respected, unstoppable. By the end of the semester, I was no longer just the new student who faded into the background. I had friends who valued my intellect, classmates who sought my advice, and professors who noticed my contributions. People began to remember my name. For the first time in my life, it felt right. One night, lying in my dorm room, I thought of home. James, my parents, the years of being invisible. I smiled faintly. I'm not that person anymore, I whispered. I'm building a life where I'm in control. Where they'll see me, not as the ignored sibling, but as someone they can't overlook. Lily's words echoed in my mind. Stay true to yourself. I would. But I would also plan. Carefully. Strategically. One day, they'd see me and regret how they treated me. Ethan's advice replayed as well. Influence, patience, subtlety. Every smile I gave, every connection I made, every challenge I faced with Sophia, it was all practice for my eventual return. A fire burned inside me, quiet but relentless. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. And soon, I would take everything back that had been unfairly taken from me. Someday, I whispered to the empty dorm room, I'll come back. And this time, I'll make sure they never forget me. I sat at my desk, scrolling through James' social media like a detective examining clues. Every post, every picture, every comment, it was all information. He bragged about his achievements, flaunted his friends, and subtly reminded everyone of his perfect life. Still obsessed. Lily's voice startled me over the phone. I'm not obsessed, I said quickly, forcing calm. I'm being smart. I'm just keeping an eye on things. You're calling it being smart, but it looks more like plotting, she said. Don't let him ruin your heart before you even act. I'm careful, I insisted. Every step is calculated. I'm not reckless. You said that last week too, she muttered, sighing. Just don't lose yourself, okay? I won't, I promised, though a small smile tugged at my lips. The truth was, I already had a plan. I picked up my notebook, jotting down everything: his friends, habits, weaknesses. Marcus, his loud, arrogant friend, loved attention and money. Emily, James' girlfriend, was shallow, obsessed with status. Everything I learned gave me leverage. I called Marcus casually. Hey, Marcus. How's it going? Hey. Long time, huh? His laugh was brash. You want to catch up? Sure, I said, keeping my tone easy. Just wanted to ask, you know James, right? Does he take credit for everything? Marcus chuckled. Of course. That's James. If he does something small, he acts like he invented the wheel. I nodded, pretending to listen carefully. Interesting. Thanks for telling me. That's what friends are for, right? He said, laughing again. I hung up and smiled. Every conversation, every bit of information, was another brick in the foundation I was quietly building. Later, I attended a seminar on finance and entrepreneurship. I remembered Ethan's advice. Influence matters. People notice power, not just grades. I introduced myself to influential attendees, exchanged contacts, and learned about opportunities that could later help me infiltrate social circles my family valued. You're ambitious, Ethan said later, over coffee. But be careful. Ambition without restraint can destroy you. I know, I said. But this feels different. I need to be ready. Not just for me, but for the chance to set things right. He stuttered me. Just don't let the fire blind you. Your morality is your compass. I nodded. I understood. Revenge could consume me, but if I was careful, I could channel it without losing myself. One night, scrolling through messages, I overheard a conversation between Marcus and James. James, are you sure you want to invest in this? Marcus asked. It seems risky. James laughed. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. I always do. I leaned back, thinking. Overconfidence. Arrogance. Flaws I could exploit. Every little weakness, logged in my mind. The next day, Lily visited me. I hear you've been tracking him, talking to his friends, plotting. I call it research, I said, shrugging. Everything I do is for my future. But the line between future and revenge is thin, she said softly. Don't cross it without thinking. You're not him. You don't need to become cruel to succeed. I looked at her, feeling a pang of guilt. I know. But I've been invisible my whole life. I can't ignore what they did. I need them to see me, to respect me. You can have success without bitterness, she said. Promise me you'll try. I promise, I said, though my mind already raced with strategies. Over the next few weeks, I planted seeds carefully. A casual remark to a colleague about a business opportunity Marcus was promoting led him to overcommit. A subtle hint to Emily about James' missteps in class caused tension between them. I stayed distant, anonymous, and unnoticed, like a shadow influencing events without anyone seeing me. Every evening, I questioned myself. Am I becoming the person I hated? Am I letting revenge control me? But then I'd see James boast about trivial achievements, hear his laugh, and the answer became clear. I wasn't letting it control me, I was guiding it. Lily called again. You sound different, she said, worry threading her voice. Focused, yes, but also colder. I'm learning, Lily, I said. Focused doesn't mean cold. It means ready. Ready for when the time comes. You're treading dangerous ground, she warned. Don't forget who you are. Don't let them make you into someone you won't recognize. I smiled faintly. I won't. I'm still me. I just won't be invisible anymore. By the end of the month, subtle shifts were happening. Marcus stumbled on his project, James grew anxious at minor failures, and Emily's attention wavered. My actions were small, precise, almost invisible, but I felt a thrill each time I saw their cracks appear. Lily called one night, her voice soft. I know what you're doing. I don't approve entirely, but I trust you. Just remember, Your humanity is worth more than any revenge. I know, I whispered. And I won't lose it. But I will take back what was mine. Quietly. Carefully. Strategically. I hung up, staring at the city lights outside my window. The seeds were planted. The game had begun. And I was ready. James' arrogance, Marcus' stupidity, Emily's vanity, they were all pieces of a puzzle I was assembling. And one day, when the time was right, I would take everything back. I sat in my small apartment, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Every detail I had gathered about James' workplace was here. Errors, missed deadlines, careless decisions. Tonight was the night. My first strike. Are you sure about this? Ethan's voice came through the video call. His eyes were sharp, but calm. I am, I said, swallowing the tight knot in my stomach. He's arrogant, careless, and everyone else trusts him blindly. It's time someone opened their eyes. Just remember, he warned, this is about influence, not malice. Don't cross the line. You're brilliant, but revenge can consume even the smartest person. I know, I said, forcing confidence into my voice. I won't let it consume me. I just want him to see the consequences of his actions. Ethan nodded. Then go. Carefully. I uploaded the anonymous report I had compiled. It detailed mistakes James had made, mismanagement of projects, and financial oversights. I included references, screenshots, and verifiable errors. Every line was calculated to be factual, undeniable. A few hours later, my phone buzzed. Anonymous complaints had reached his supervisors. Emails were circulating. James' phone blew up. I don't understand. I heard him yell over the call I intercepted through a mutual friend. I did everything right. This is a mistake. Emily's voice was frantic. James, calm down. We can fix this. Just don't panic. Panic. The word felt like music to me, even as a pang of guilt twisted my stomach. I called Ethan. It's working. He's panicking. Everyone's talking about him. Good, he said carefully. But how are you feeling? I paused. Powerful, but guilty. I don't know why. I told myself I'd feel only satisfaction. Because this is personal, he said softly. Revenge is never clean. You're human. That's normal. I exhaled. I hate seeing him so fragile. But he deserves it. He never noticed me, never acknowledged me. This is justice, isn't it? Ethan leaned back, eyes thoughtful. Justice can be messy. Just don't lose sight of yourself in the process. Hours later, James' co-workers confronted him. We found these mistakes in the quarterly report, one said. You signed off on numbers that don't add up. Can you explain? James sputtered, his face red. I thought it was fine. I double-checked. No, James. This is serious, another voice added. I watched from my laptop, hidden, silent. The shame and confusion on his face were intense. My heart raced, both exhilarated and heavy. Emily tried to mediate. James, maybe we can. He snapped at her. Don't. Everyone thinks I'm incompetent. This is all over the office. I felt a strange mixture of triumph and unease. Yes, he was exposed. But part of me winced at his panic. Am I enjoying this too much? I wondered. Ethan's message popped up. You've done well. But remember, power without control can backfire. I know, I whispered aloud. I control it. I won't let it backfire on me. The next day, whispers followed James through the office. Colleagues questioned his decisions, his judgment, his competence. For the first time, people looked at him with doubt instead of admiration. Meanwhile, I walked through campus, breathing in the air, feeling alive. The thrill of influence was intoxicating, but the guilt lingered like a shadow. Lily called me that evening. I heard about James, she said quietly. Are you okay? I'm fine, I said, forcing a smile. It's strange. I wanted this. And yet. Yet you feel guilty, she said. It's normal. Don't fight it. Just remember why you started this. I nodded. I started it because I was invisible. Because I wanted them to see me. Not just James, not my parents, everyone. I wanted to be recognized. And you will, she said softly. Just don't lose yourself on the way. I hung up and stared at the city lights outside my window. The first strike had been executed perfectly. James was vulnerable, embarrassed, shaken. And I felt the intoxicating mix of power and responsibility, guilt and satisfaction. I whispered to myself, this is only the beginning. There would be more strikes, more careful moves. Every error I exploited, every influence I wielded, was a step closer to reclaiming everything I had been denied. I leaned back, hands clasped. My mind raced with possibilities. The road ahead was full of deeper betrayals and challenges, but I was ready. Stronger, smarter, and more careful than ever. And when the time came, no one would be able to ignore me. Not James. Not my family. Not anyone who had dismissed me. For the first time in my life, I felt in control. I was sitting in the library when I noticed James' latest text. I heard about your little project. Impressive, but not surprising. Careful who you trust. My fingers froze. Project. I reread it 3 times, each time feeling my chest tighten. How did he even know? Liam slid into the chair across from me, grinning. Hey, did you hear? James is freaking out about your, little plan. I stared at him. What are you talking about? Come on, don't act innocent, he said, leaning back. He knows some details. Everyone's talking. My stomach sank. Details? From where? Liam shrugged. I dunno. Maybe someone mentioned it. You didn't think your friends would keep everything secret, did you? I felt the heat rise to my face. You're saying, you told him? He laughed nervously. I might have said something. I didn't think it mattered. I just mentioned it in passing. I slammed my hands on the table. In passing? Liam, do you know what this means? Everything I've worked for, every step I've taken carefully, could be ruined because of your carelessness. He flinched. Hey, I didn't mean. You didn't mean. I echoed, voice tight with rage. Do you have any idea how that feels? To be invisible all your life, to claw your way into respect, and then someone you trusted betrays you like this. Liam looked down, guilt flashing in his eyes. I was jealous. You've always been better than me at everything. I thought it would even things out if James knew a bit. I leaned back, closing my eyes. The familiar sting of betrayal returned, like a shadow I had tried to leave behind with my family. Only now, it wasn't Mom or Dad. It was someone I considered a friend. Someone I had trusted. You just don't get it, I whispered, voice shaking. This isn't about jealousy. This is about respect, about control, about not letting people like James destroy what I've built. I'm sorry, he mumbled, barely audible. Sorry doesn't fix this, I said coldly. I trusted you, Liam. I confided in you, and you went straight to him. You've made my job harder, and you've made me question who I can trust. Liam's face fell. I didn't think you'd take it so personally. I didn't mean to hurt you. I shook my head. You don't understand. This isn't just personal, it's strategic. You've endangered everything. And yet, I can't waste my energy on anger alone. I have to think, plan, adapt. He swallowed hard. So, what will you do? I leaned forward, voice steady. I'll recalibrate. I'll adjust my strategy. You'll learn that betrayal comes with consequences, Liam, but it won't stop me. Not now, not ever. I've survived worse, and I'm stronger for it. I get it, he whispered. You should, I said, standing up. Because from now on, you'll think twice before crossing me. As I walked out of the library, I felt a cold clarity settle over me. Betrayal wasn't limited to my family. It existed everywhere. In friends, in colleagues, in rivals. And if I wanted ultimate victory, I had to anticipate it, outsmart it, and remain untouchable. I called Ethan that evening. Something happened, I said, trying to keep my voice composed. He raised an eyebrow. Go on. Liam, he leaked information to James, I said. I trusted him. I confided in him. And he betrayed me. Ethan's expression softened. I'm sorry. I know how that feels. But look at your reaction. You're thinking strategically, not impulsively. That's progress. I know, I said. But the pain, it's the same as before. Invisible. Ignored. And now, betrayed again. Exactly, he said. Use it. Let it sharpen you. Betrayal is painful, but it's also a teacher. Learn, adapt, and make sure it never happens the same way twice. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I will. I can't let anyone, family, friends, rivals, undermine me. Not again. Good, he said. And remember, don't let anger cloud your judgment. Your morality is part of your strength. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Morality. Strength. I repeated the words in my head like a mantra. I couldn't afford to lose myself in revenge. Not now, not ever. But I could use betrayal to fuel me, to refine my strategy, to ensure that no one, ever, had that power over me again. Later, Lily called. Her voice was soft but firm. I heard about Liam. Are you okay? I will be, I said. I've learned something important today. Betrayal exists everywhere, and I have to be smarter than it, stronger than it. I won't let it touch me again. She paused. Just, don't lose yourself chasing revenge. I know you're capable, but make sure you're still, you. I'm still me, I said, voice steady. And from now on, I'll trust carefully. And strike strategically. As I ended the call, I felt a mixture of pain and resolve. Shock, heartbreak, anger, all wrapped together, but clearer than ever. Betrayal was a fact of life, and I would survive it. Better yet, I would use it. The path ahead was treacherous, but I was ready. And no one, friend, foe, or family, would catch me off guard again. The gala was dazzling. Crystal chandeliers, polished floors, influential people laughing and networking. I adjusted my jacket and inhaled sharply. This was it, the moment I had been building toward. My transformation, my achievements, my presence, all leading to this stage. I spotted James across the room, laughing loudly with a group of colleagues. Emily clung to his arm, her smile bright but nervous. And there, in the VIP section, my parents mingled, casting casual glances that ignored me entirely, just like old times. Time to make them see, I whispered under my breath. I walked over, each step deliberate. James, I said smoothly, standing just behind him. He turned, surprise flickering across his face. Oh, it's you. I didn't expect. I smiled coldly. You didn't expect me to be noticed? Funny, I've spent years invisible, and now, here I am. Emily stiffened. What? What are you doing here? I looked at her, eyes sharp. Observing. Learning. Thriving. Something you clearly don't appreciate in James. James opened his mouth, but I cut him off. You see, everyone thinks you're flawless. Perfect. Brilliant. But reality is different. Whispers began circulating. People noticed my presence, my poise, my confidence. I let it sink in. Different how? James asked, voice tight. I gestured subtly to his phone, left carelessly on a nearby table. Care to explain the reports you've been circulating anonymously? Claiming credit, taking advantage of others, mismanaging projects. James froze, then glanced around as murmur spread. I don't know what you mean. You do, I said softly, each word deliberate. I've documented everything. Every arrogance, every oversight, every lie. And I've ensured the people who matter now know too. Mom and Dad finally noticed the gathering crowd and our tense faces. Mom's lips pressed tight. What? What is going on? I'll tell you exactly what's going on, I said, turning to them, letting my voice carry. For years, I was invisible. Every achievement ignored. Every effort dismissed. While James, your golden child, received praise for mediocrity, I was punished with neglect. Dad's face darkened. That's not true. It is, I said firmly. Every report card, every accolade, every accomplishment, they went unnoticed. Every humiliation, every tear, I felt alone. And yet I survived. And now, I gestured to the crowd of influential guests. Now, I am here. Respected. Accomplished. Powerful. And you, see me. James' face had turned red, embarrassment and fear mingling. This isn't fair. I didn't make it fair, I said. You did. Your arrogance, your entitlement, your mistakes, they paved the way for my rise. Karma isn't cruel, it's precise. Emily looked at me, wide-eyed. You did all this. Yes, I said, keeping my voice calm. All of it. From being ignored to being unstoppable. From invisible to someone who commands attention, respect, and influence. And every misstep you took, every careless action, has led to this moment. James turned to my parents, pleading. Mom, Dad, she's exaggerating. None of this is true. Mom's hands trembled slightly. James, is this? I stepped closer. No, it's the truth. I've built my life on intelligence, strategy, and patience, qualities you never nurtured. And now, I've arrived at the point where even you can't ignore me. Dad's voice shook. We didn't realize. I held up a hand. You didn't realize because you never cared. But realizing now isn't enough. Witnessing my transformation is your first lesson in respect. James tried to interject again. Please, this is. Sure, I said softly, savoring the silence that fell over the room. Let me finish. Every lie you told, every credit you stole, every insult you ignored, I've accounted for it. Not with anger, but with strategy. And here I am. Whispers spread faster. Colleagues, mentors, and friends looked at me with new respect. James' usual confidence was gone, replaced by shame. Emily's smile faltered. Mom and Dad were silent, the weight of my words pressing down. I stepped closer to James. Do you see it now? The invisible child isn't invisible anymore. The one you dismissed, mocked, and ignored, is the one standing tallest in the room. And you're just a boy exposed for what you always were, arrogant and careless. James' hands trembled. I didn't think. You never do, I said softly. But that ends today. Today, you and everyone who ignored me learn what it means to respect me. Not out of fear of punishment, but because I have earned it. Every ounce of recognition, every bit of influence, it's mine. And you helped build the path that brought me here. Mom's voice cracked. We didn't know. You didn't care, I said, voice steady. But now, you see me. And maybe, finally, you'll reflect on how your choices shaped me. How your favoritism and neglect created someone who refused to be ignored. The crowd's whispers turned into quiet applause, subtle but acknowledging. I looked around, letting it sink in. I had arrived. James was humiliated. My parents were confronted with their mistakes. I was vindicated. I smiled faintly. This is only the beginning, I whispered to myself. But tonight, justice, respect, and karma had converged beautifully. The night after the gala, I sat alone in my apartment, the city lights spilling across the floor. Silence was thick, almost suffocating. The confrontation had gone perfectly, but the weight of it lingered. My phone buzzed. Lily. I answered quickly. Hey. I heard, she said softly. You did it. You really did it. I did, I admitted. James is humiliated, Mom and Dad. They're finally seeing the truth. But I can't shake this feeling. Guilt? She asked. I nodded, staring at my hands. Yes. Satisfaction is there, sure. But there's also this emptiness. I've gained respect, power, but some innocence, some part of me feels lost. That's normal, Lily said. You've been invisible all your life, fighting to be seen. You've had to be strong, clever, and strategic. That leaves scars. I know, I whispered. It's just strange. Seeing James stumble, hearing whispers about him at work, knowing Emily left him. I thought I'd feel pure triumph, but instead, it's complicated. Lily's voice softened. Complicated doesn't mean wrong. You fought for yourself. But remember, people are more than obstacles. Sometimes victory comes with unexpected weight. I leaned back, closing my eyes. I never thought achieving justice would feel so lonely. A text from an unknown number flashed on my phone. I messed up. I see it now. I was arrogant, careless, and I hurt you. I'm sorry. I smiled faintly. It was James. Regret dripped from every word. Finally, I thought. But I didn't respond. Some lessons are meant to be witnessed, not rewarded with attention. The next day, news had spread. Whispers followed James at his workplace, colleagues questioning his decisions, murmuring about his mistakes. Emily had left him, the final blow. He looked smaller, fragile. I felt a twinge of pity, quickly replaced by resolve. I couldn't dwell on it. My life was moving forward. Mom called later. Her voice trembled. We didn't realize how much we ignored you. I sighed softly. I know now, you see, but it doesn't change the years. What matters is how we move forward, if that's even possible. Dad's voice followed hers, quieter, shameful. We were wrong. We wanted the best for James. We just didn't see you. You didn't see me, I repeated, calm but firm. Now, I'm visible. I've earned my place in the world. And I hope you take responsibility, not just apologize. There was a pause. Then, Mom whispered, we'll try. I hung up, feeling the bittersweet weight of acknowledgement. Power, respect, and recognition were mine, but at a cost. Some relationships were strained, some innocence lost. I realized that success and justice often demanded sacrifice. Later, Lily visited. She hugged me tight. You're still you, underneath all the strategy and plans, she said softly. I hope so, I admitted, holding her close. I've gained influence, respect, even fear. But I don't want to lose myself in the process. You're my anchor, Lily. You remind me what really matters. She pulled back slightly, looking into my eyes. And I'll always be here. Family isn't always who gives birth. It's who stands by you, who understands you. That's what we have. I smiled, feeling a warmth I hadn't experienced in years. My past had been filled with neglect and betrayal, but here, Lily reminded me that connection, trust, and love were possible. We spent the evening talking, laughing quietly, sharing memories and hopes. For the first time in a long while, I felt grounded. The power I had fought for was exhilarating, yes, but the real victory was having someone who truly understood me beside me. As the night deepened, I looked out the window. The city lights shimmered, reflecting possibilities and the path ahead. My parents would have to reflect on their mistakes, James would have to live with his, and I would continue building my life, strong, aware, and unapologetically present. Tomorrow, I whispered to myself, I rise further. Stronger, wiser, and still me. And as I felt Lily's hand squeeze mine, I understood. I was no longer invisible. I had taken everything back, yes, but I had also found the one thing I had always lacked, a family that chose to be with me. I stood outside my old house, the one I had avoided for years. The paint was faded, the garden overgrown, yet every detail felt painfully familiar. I took a deep breath, letting the memories wash over me. Years of being invisible, ignored, dismissed. Lily's voice broke the silence. Are you sure you want to do this? I have to, I said quietly. Closure isn't just in my mind. It's here, in the place that started it all. We stepped inside. The smell of old wood and faint dust made me flinch. I could almost hear my parents praising James for the smallest achievements, ignoring me. My younger self would have shrunk into a corner, silently crying. But not now. I pulled out a small box from my bag. Inside were old awards, letters, and tokens from the childhood I had spent proving myself to no one. I placed it carefully on the windowsill, where sunlight hit it perfectly. Consider this, leaving the past behind, I said softly, almost to myself. Lily nodded. It's yours now. Free. I smiled faintly, touching the box. It's symbolic. I'm taking my life back, step by step. Not just my achievements, but my self-respect, my choices, my power. Lily put a hand on my shoulder. You've earned it. And you've grown into someone unstoppable, without losing who you are. I laughed softly, a sound I hadn't heard from myself in years. Unstoppable, huh? That's one way to put it. I've learned that respect isn't given, it's earned. And being invisible taught me patience, strategy, strength. You've come so far, she said. I'm proud of you. I felt a warmth in my chest. Thanks, Lily. You've been my anchor, the family I chose. We walked to the front gate. I turned back once, looking at the house that had shaped me, that had neglected me. Goodbye, I whispered. You don't define me anymore. Lily squeezed my hand, ready to step forward. I nodded. More than ready. I've reclaimed everything stolen from me: respect, recognition, opportunities, and my peace. Then let's go, she said, smiling. As we walked away, I felt the past loosen its grip. No more whispers of doubt, no more shadows of invisibility. I was no longer the overlooked child, the one who longed for attention and validation. I was whole, confident, and unshakable. Later that evening, I reflected on the journey. I remembered James' arrogance, my parents' neglect, and the betrayals along the way. I remembered Liam, my missteps, my careful strategies, and the countless nights I planned, learned, and grew stronger. And I smiled. You've come a long way, I whispered to myself. And it's only the beginning. The world can see me now, and I can see it fully, without fear, without hesitation. I pulled out my phone, a quick call to Ethan. I did it, I said, voice calm but triumphant. I faced everything. I'm free. And I'm ready for the next chapter. Ethan chuckled softly. I knew you would. You've earned it. Just remember, growth isn't over. It's ongoing. But today, you can stand tall. I will, I said, smiling. And I will never forget the lessons, the struggles, or the people who helped me survive and thrive. I ended the call and looked at Lily. Ready? Always, she said. We walked into the glowing city streets, lights reflecting on wet pavement from the evening rain. The world was vast, full of opportunities, and I felt unstoppable. Every choice, every struggle, every tear had led me here. I reached into my pocket and held a small token, one last reminder of my past, a faded ribbon from an award no one noticed. I let it slip into the gutter, carried away by the rain. Symbolic, freeing, final. This is it, I whispered. I'm done looking back. Lily squeezed my hand again. And ahead is everything you've earned. I took a deep breath, chest swelling with resolve. Yes, everything I've earned. Everything I've fought for. Everything I've reclaimed. And with that, I stepped fully into my future, bright, independent, and unstoppable. The invisible child was gone. In her place stood someone unbroken, someone sane, someone who would never be ignored again.